very few. No. Uh, by the time of 1850, you can imagine the population of province of Bengal was approximately 85 million. East Bengal was having Muslim majority of 32 million, and west part of Bengal province was having Hindu majority of 53 million, which was more than total population of Britain, UK at that time. So you can imagine that much populated province was very much crippled economically, socially, and educationally under the British rule. They were also oppressed and tortured by Hindu landlord, Bengali Muslims. Their religious beliefs had gone weak as Islam was badly influenced by Hinduism. These Muslims had become superstitious and were far from the true ideal of Islam. At the same time, there was no hope for political regeneration. You can imagine uh, being oppressed economically, educationally, socially, and had nothing left but to adopt the influence of other cultures. And that was Muslims were doing actually. Willingly or unwillingly, Islam was actually changing. And that is because of the malpractices of Muslims of Bengal at that time. So in these conditions, Haji Sharifullah was born in Faridpur district of Bengal in 1781. I have deliberately mentioned these three words that his family was poor. You know, whenever you are asked 4 mark question who was Haji Sharifullah, you will have to keep all these things in your mind. In what conditions he was born and what was his brought up like. That is how we answer a 4 mark question. If you remember, I have given you a clear idea of it. Am I right, guys? So, in this situation, he was born in 1799. He went to Arabia on pilgrimage and stayed there for 19 years. Now, every single of our religious thinkers, uh, they went to Arabia. If you remember, Shah Waliullah, Sayyid Ahmad Shaheed, and now Haji Sharifullah. Reason for that is not surprising. It must not be surprising. Reason is we all like would love to perform pilgrimage, Hajj in our lives. At that time, it was also considered as a duty or as a first to perform Hajj once in a lifetime because it is part of our belief for every Muslims. So all three of them went there. But all three of them did something different. Like um, Shah Waliullah observed the difference in Islam between India and Arabia, and he came as a preacher, religious thinker, and started his literary work. I cannot hear you actually. Your voice was very much lagging.
Sir,
Yes.
we study about Ahmad Shah Abdali.
Ahmad Shah Abdali was a Afghan king, and Shah Waliullah, at the time when we were discussing Shah Waliullah, I told you that Shah Waliullah wrote some letters to him to support Mughal Emperor in the fight against Marathas. But we never consider Ahmad Shah Abdali as a religious thinker because he was the king at that time. Okay? Is it clear as us?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, I was telling you that they all went to perform Hajj, but they came up with some different ideas and different viewpoints. So in 1799, uh, When Shah Haji Shariatullah went to Arabia, he stayed there for 19 years, longer than any one of any three of them. Like Shah Waliullah stayed there for 6 years almost. Shariatullah, Sayyid Ahmad Bareilly stayed there for 2 years. But Haji Shariatullah spent longest time in Arabia, and he was quite under the influence of Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab, who was a scholar and influencer of Arabia. He was of great influence, and he once again observed and learned the fundamentalism of Islam, core teachings of it, and compare it with the practices of the Muslims of subcontinent. And there were clearly a lot of differences. And the differences was because Haji Shariatullah believed that the miserable condition of the Muslims in India led to the country being Darul Harb. This is a new word for you. It's an Arabic word, Darul Harb. It simply means, generally you can say means, country under a foreign rule or a ruler of that country is not Muslim. But in this situation, when Haji Shariatullah called India Darul Harb, it was owned by a Mughal Empire. And the Mughal Emperor was, at least he called himself a Muslim. So my question from you guys is, was it all right? Do you think that India was really became Darul Harb at that time? What will be your answer? Your opinion, I'm just asking.
Yes.
Okay, answer believe that India was Darul Harb. What's surprising is Darul Harb means you cannot offer your Friday and Eid prayer in Darul Harb. Means it, it's not like it will be accepted or not. You cannot actually offer it. Reason is because it is so un-Islamic. Like if you are actually considering Darul Harb. So at that time, we can imagine when Haji Shariatullah called it Darul Harb, Muslims must be involved in so many malpractices. Their their religious beliefs were uh, influenced by so many different cultures.
Sir, I have a
That is
question.
why. Yes, yes. Please go on and
Sir,
ask.
if you are a
Yeah.
Muslim, you are a pious Muslim, you pray 5 times a day, but you move to a new country and it's a Darul Harb, right? What conditions apply then?
No, no. Exactly. Answer. I love your question because it will clarify a lot of things. It is not like that. That if you move to any other country and you will call it Darul Harb. In general meanings, Darul Harb may be called a country which is ruled by foreign. But if the ruler of that country is allowing you to practice and let you pray and let you eat whatever you like, let you earn what is halal according to you, so you don't have any right to call it Darul Harb. You
Okay,
will
okay.
first need to consider exactly the emperor. I said Mughal emperor was Muslim, but yet Haji Shariatullah called India the Darul Harb. The reason was there were so many malpractices from Muslims to threaten them and to ask them to follow Islam. You can say it was like a what should I say? Well, like knock on the minds of Muslim at that time that if they do not stop their malpractices, India will become Darul Harb. And in Darul Harb, you cannot offer your prayers, especially Friday and Eid prayers. So you will have to migrate. And we saw some like kind of a migration when people of Sindh and Balochistan tried to migrate to Afghanistan, calling it a Darul Harb. At that time, you will learn in the lessons to come. At that time, when everyone was very much like better in education and understanding, that is why I'm saying India being Darul Harb was the opinion of Haji Shariatullah, and to fulfill, he also believed that Muslim community had moved away from Islamic practices, and it was, you know, the reality of that time. Because of living with so much majority of Hindus, they were actually unwillingly attracted towards their practices, and they became superstitious. I mentioned that earlier in the slide. And he wanted them to return to what he thought was the proper observation of Islamic duties. Now, if you understand this, Haji Shariatullah was not asking the emperor actually. He was asking the people, Muslims, to observe Islamic duties and farais. And in Urdu, we call it fars, like you mentioned, answer, fars salah, zakat, roza, namaz, and Hajj Baitullah. These are five pillars of Islam, I should say. So Haji Shariatullah called them farais and started Faraizi movement. His movement was called Faraizi because in this movement he did not started any armed struggle like Sayyid Ahmad Shahid Bareilly, and he did not start any uh, literary work or educational work for Muslims like Shah Waliullah. What he did, he only asked Muslim to perform their farais as per the given principle of Islam. And that was the Faraizi movement. And he believed until Muslims become proper in their farais, they will not be able to achieve glory. It was quite right, I believe so. The Faraizi movement supported the idea of jihad against two things, I will say. See, whenever you're asked to follow Islamic rules, it is jihad bin nafs. To not to do whatever you want to do, but to do what is asked from you being Muslim. This is that jihad. Jihad loves is koshish, the try. That jihad is called jihad bin nafs, and the other jihad was against the non-Muslim who were stopping them to follow the true principles of Islam. See, this is where he called it Darul Harb. That now it was time, now it was the right of Muslims to fight for their principles of Islam. That was sort of jihad, he asked. What he did, he started Faraizi movement to restore the pride of the Muslims and remove what he thought were the Hindu practices. Hindu practices, I have cleared you. Still, I will not go in that detail, but you can still sense some sort of practices while we are celebrating weddings and all that. So there are still, it is very much debatable still that we are involved in such malpractices. So do you remember the name of the movement started by Sayyid Ahmad? It's just a reminder question. You know, there are always reminder alerts during the presentation. So it is another alert popped up on your screen because the name of Haji Shariatullah movement was Faraizi movement. Do you remember the name of movement started by Sayyid Ahmad Shahid? It's quite easy. Anyone?
movement.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? Thank you, answer. Anyone else? Naveen, what's your answer? What was the name of Sayyid Ahmad's movement? You can use chat box if there is an issue turning on your microphone. Izaz? Guys, it is very easy. I mean, Hashir, Izaz, Bilal, Naveen, Sarin, you all can answer it. It's a simple question if you remember. I've just repeated the name as well. Without wasting further time, I will consider answers, right? It was Jihad movement, which was started by Sayyid Ahmad Sharif Bareilly. So what Haji Shariatullah did was he emphasis was placed on praying for past sins and promising to lead a righteous life in the future. See, if I quote Quran here, تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. You should stop doing sins as well as promote doing what is right. These two things, uh, you can say Allah has demanded from every Muslim. One thing, he should be involved whatever is right, doing it. Other, he must not be involved in doing whatever is not right. Doing right with doing wrong is not actually Islam. So he emphasizes on this, Haji Shariatullah. The success of this movement obviously caught an eye of British and Hindu landlords, and there were lots of issues because they knew if Haji Shariatullah will be able to arrange the majority and he will bring them to one common belief, it will strengthen the unity. They were afraid from, especially the British, because by the time Haji Shariatullah started his work, British were started taking over Hindustan step by step because of the weak emperor and whatever the reason we have discussed. So East India Company was getting powerful and Hindus were favoring them because they were considering it as their chance. So they were having some issues from Haji Shariatullah. Actually, they did not want Haji Shariatullah to create difficulty for them by uniting Muslims. That unity was actually haunting them and a desire to improve their lives and purify their religion. They knew that if they will be able to do that, I mean, desire to improve their life and purify their religion, there will be no stopping Muslims to rule again for 100 years. Okay, sorry. Yes, thank you. He was forced out of the Rhine to Nawabganj in Dhaka, where he died in 1840. British were strong enough in 1840, so he exiled him. It was an exile for him, and Haji Shariatullah, spent his life miserably and died there. After his death, his work was carried by his son, Mohsinuddin. Remember, you may be asked a 4-mark question about Mohsinuddin, that who was Mohsinuddin? So Mohsinuddin was son of Haji Shariatullah, who continued to improve the position of Muslims in East Bengal. Now, what he did is Mohsinuddin was the son who continued to improve the position of Muslim in East Bengal. Here is another reminder, Alash. What do you know about son of Shah Waliullah? Do you remember, guys, anything related to Shah Waliullah's son? Anything that pops up in your mind, like what did? Okay. Why we are talking about Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan? It was Sayyid Ahmad Sharif Bareilly I was talking about. And your words are more important for me than anyone else's. Let it be Google as well.
Sir, he told the importance of people which were there.
Okay. Shah Waliullah's sons actually translated Quran in Urdu. It is said that Shah Waliullah translated Quran in Urdu. He helped them, but it was his son who translated Quran in Urdu. Shah Waliullah translated Quran in Persian. Because in his time, in his years of life, Persian was the common language Muslims used in the subcontinent because of the influence from Persia, today's Iran. Okay, he introduced important economic measure. Mohsinuddin was actually working for Muslims' right and their liberty. He divides East Bengal into circle under control of each Khalifa to carry out religious activities. Now, these circles were more like today's political system where we have sectors and unit and charges and all that. Circle was like unit in charge, you can say, and it was controlled by Khalifa, who was considered responsible for carrying out religious activities like arranging five-time prayers, or Jummah prayers, or Eid prayers, and all that stuff uh, in abundance. He helped the peasants to oppose land taxes and he threatened to declare jihad against the British. So he was captured and put in prison where he died in 1860. Reason, reason for that is like he was actually working for betterment of Muslims in the subcontinent. So you can imagine, and that is where he is quite different from others because Muslim is not even considered as a religious thinker in our syllabus, or he was not actually. He continued the legacy of his father to support Muslim of East Bengal only. Okay, boys? Now, importance of Haji Shariatullah, which is our main task. So, one thing I would like to ask, especially Linus, I expect answer from your side. Do you think the Farisi movement was needed at that time?
So Hinduism was finished.
Okay, so was it needed to start the Farisi movement at that time? All I'm asking is that.
Sir, yes, it was an important role for them to be worked.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bilal, for your opinion. What about anyone else? Anas, anything to say or Sarim? You would like to say anything? What about Farisi movement? Do you believe that? What do you think actually? It's not like believing. It's your viewpoint. Anything like anything is
So
acceptable.
his work was really important to the Farisi movement.
Exactly. Unless you think Farisi movement was not important. Can you please explain and support your answer why you think the Farisi movement was not important at that time? Meanwhile, Anas is typing. I hope. Let me take you towards the importance of Haji Shariatullah because it gave encouragement to Muslims at a time when they demoralized. I was asking Anas, do you think? I hope you can see this yellow box on your screen as well. I was asking, that do you think that the Farisi movement was needed at that time? Okay, it was very important as I mentioned that Muslims were demoralized by oppression suffered from Hindus and British. So Haji Shariatullah gave them some hope. It also brought about a spiritual revival which led to a revival in Islamic religion in East Bengal. Hindu influences were removed from Islamic practices. It might be said that some leaves, some seeds for Pakistan movement were sown by the Farisi movement. Thank you so much, Bilal, for taking a snap and cropping it and then sharing it in the chat box. So nice of you. Okay, comparison we will discuss in 14 mark question. It should remain till here. Is it clear, boys? Haji Shariatullah's importance. You
Yes,
can
sir.
ask anything if it is troublesome or anything you feel like asking by seeing these slides. I said comparison I will discuss later on at the end of this lesson. You must be able to answer the questions shared with you. Thank you, Bilal. Understand the background, work, and importance of the religious thinker. I will be waiting and appreciating your colors, means green, blue, or red. Whatever color you feel like is there. Thank you, Naveed. It's green. Okay, what about you, Bilal? That's fine. Green for you as well. Anas, Sarin, Izaz. Thank you, Anas. These will be three questions to ask from you as a task three. Who was Haji Shariatullah? Who was Mohsin Uddin? Why Shariatullah started the Faraizi movement?
Sir, can you
I'm,
upload them as a task on Telegram?
yes, I just said I am marking it as an assignment. Actually, I have already started marking it as an assignment. So you guys will be able to find it in a minute. And then I will upload the resource there as well. Okay? This is assignment 3 for you after Sharitullah and